He had already made up his mind before the players touched the ball. The European scout sat high in the bleachers, arms folded, expression neutral. He was not looking for surprises. He was looking for a confirmation. Confirmation that Filipino guards were small, that their game was undisciplined, that international competition demanded something they simply did not have. The invitation had come from a Manila-based academy, hoping to send one prospect to Europe. The scout represented a respected development program in Spain, connected loosely to clubs in orbit of the Euro League. His report would decide who moved forward. He arrived with statistics, film clips, and quiet skepticism. Outside the gym in Quezon City, traffic hummed in the afternoon heat. Inside, the air carried rubber, dust, and anticipation. Parents stood along the walls. Coaches whispered. For many of the young men lacing their shoes, this scrimmage was not exposure. It was possibility. It was rent, medicine, tuition, and something harder to define. The scout flipped through his notebook. Wingspan measurements, vertical leap numbers, comparative charts from Balkan academies. He had built his reputation on projection, not sentiment. He believed in length, in frame, in system discipline. The Philippine league culture, he had been told, favored flair over structure. Today would confirm it. When the players were introduced, he barely looked up. Names blended together. Heights announced in centimeters sounded modest by European standards. A few guards bowed their heads briefly before stepping onto the floor. It was habit, not ceremony. A quiet moment of thanks before work. The academy director approached the scout and spoke carefully about resilience, about basketball as second language in the islands. The scout nodded politely. He had heard similar speeches in other countries. Heart was universal. What separated programs was execution. The ball rose for the opening tip. Shoes squeaked. A whistle cut through the gym. The scout leaned back, pen ready. He expected chaos. He expected isolation plays and hurried shots. He did not expect patience. The first possession moved like a conversation. 2 sharp passes to the wing, a cut through the lane, a flare screen set without drama. The shot missed, but the spacing was deliberate. The scout's pen paused. Structure. Someone had taught them structure. Still, he circled a note. Undersized. A forward rotated defensively, absorbing contact from a heavier opponent, sliding rather than surrendering ground. The play ended in a contested layup. No highlight, just discipline. Midway through the first quarter, a guard named Miguel checked in. He was listed at 6 feet 1 inch. In Europe, that meant backup at best. Miguel did not rush. He brought the ball up slowly, reading the floor like a map he had memorized since childhood. On his first possession, he rejected a screen and drove left. Help defense collapsed. Instead of forcing a shot, he kicked the ball cross-court to the weak side corner. The rotation came late. 3 points. The bench did not erupt. They expected it. The scout wrote, "Vision," then underlined it. He watched Miguel retreat on defense, pointing, communicating, directing traffic. There was no chest pounding, only awareness. The room felt smaller now. The game had shifted from audition to argument. Across the court, another prospect, Paolo, battled in the paint. He lacked European size, but anchored himself with timing. Twice, he met a driving guard at the rim and altered the shot without fouling. Verticality. Footwork. Training had met instinct. The scout leaned forward. He began timing defensive rotations. They were not random. The weak side helped arrive consistently within a beat. Someone had drilled this group beyond playground rhythm. The stereotype of improvisation without discipline began to loosen. Late in the second quarter, the opposing team went on a run. 2 turnovers. A transition dunk. The gym grew tense. This, the scout thought, is where composure fractures. Young players reveal themselves under pressure. Miguel slowed the tempo. He waved off a hurried entry pass and reset the offense. Shot clock ticking. 8 seconds left. He drove into traffic, absorbed contact, and dished behind his back to a trailing shooter at the top. Swish. No celebration. Just eye contact and a nod. The scout's notebook closed for a moment. He watched without writing. The players communicated in short phrases, switching seamlessly between English and Filipino. There was clarity, not confusion. They were not chasing approval. They were playing for each other. At halftime, the academy director offered bottled water and hopeful small talk. The scout did not comment on individual players. He asked about practice schedules, about weight programs, about academic commitments. He was recalibrating silently. The second half began with sharper intensity. The opposing team, larger and more physical, pressed full court. Traps formed along the sideline. The gym expected turnovers. Instead, the Filipino guard split traps with low dribbles and quick outlets. Paolo secured a defensive rebound against two taller players and immediately pushed the ball up court himself. Not recklessly, with purpose. He initiated a secondary break that ended in a controlled pull-up jumper from the elbow. Fundamentals layered over flair. The scout wrote fewer words now. He drew arrows instead, mapping movement. The offense flowed through reads rather than predetermined sets. It resembled European motion principles more than he anticipated. Adaptability, he noted. Coachability. Midway through the fourth quarter, fatigue showed. Jerseys clung to shoulders. Legs slowed. This was the final test. Talent can be trained. Endurance under expectation reveals character. Miguel took a charge against a heavier guard driving baseline. He hit the floor hard, lay still for a second, then stood without theatrics. He slapped hands with a teammate who rotated late and whispered something no one else heard. The scout caught that moment. Accountability without accusation. Leadership without noise. He had seen prospects twice Miguel's size fracture locker rooms with ego. Here, leadership arrived in quiet corrections. With 2 minutes remaining, the score tightened. A defensive stop was needed. The Filipino squad switched seamlessly on a staggered screen, forcing a contested mid-range shot. The rebound bounced long. A scramble. 3 players dove. The ball found Miguel. He did not rush the final possession. 30 seconds on the clock. He motioned for spacing. The gym held its breath. 10 seconds left. He drove, drew help, and lofted a precise lob to Paolo cutting along the baseline. 2 points. Not flashy. Precise. The buzzer sounded. The score mattered less than the statement. Players shook hands with opponents before acknowledging the crowd. No choreographed celebration. Just relief and quiet pride. The scout remained seated after others stood. His assumptions had entered the gym with him. They did not leave intact. He had expected heart without structure. He found structure fueled by heart. Later, in a brief meeting with the academy staff, he spoke carefully. He admitted he had underestimated the system, the discipline, the tactical maturity. One name would move forward for further evaluation. Possibly 2. The report would reflect growth, not doubt. As the gym lights dimmed, Miguel stayed behind to collect stray balls. No cameras remained. No applause echoed. The opportunity ahead was uncertain, still fragile. But something irreversible had happened. A room that once dismissed Filipino players had shifted, not through noise, through play.